touch. You got the touch.
This is Stan Bush, and this epic video from Optibotimus truly has the touch.
Video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Transformers Generations Fall of Cybertron Voyager class Grimlock with glowing eyes and mouth because of batteries that keep guys like Grimlock in customs for a week longer than they should have been. But I digress. You got a really nice image here of the video game version of Grimlock here on the side. Really very cool. Come on here to the bottom. You have the Legion class data discs that are designed more for blaster. You got eject and ramhorn, rewind, and sunder. Now, one thing that's kind of weird is eject is able to be trademarked, but just rewind isn't. That seems weird. I mean, that's a fairly generic term. I don't know why they'd be able to trademark that and then have to put Autobot rewind and that's I don't know, whatever. That's just weirdness if you ask me. But come on your side and you see Series 1, figure number 3. On the back here, though, you got a really nice image of the robot mode, the dinosaur mode with chomping jaws and the glowing eyes and mouth. But one thing that I find kind of funny, and I guess it's fairly accurate to the video game, he's got an intelligence here of a 7. Now, I guess I'm just spoiled by the way Grimlock was in G1, but 7 seems pretty high for this guy. But in the video game, he was a more intelligent leader, it seemed. So while that kind of weirds me out, I guess it makes sense. And then as you can see, the bio here says, there was a time when the rage that boils inside Grimlock would have driven him straight to the ranks of the Decepticons. But while his flawed manner of speaking may make him sound strange, he's smart enough to recognize a bully when he sees one. And Grimlock doesn't like bullies. It's this that fuels his dedication to his fight against the Decepticons. And then, of course, you see a courage of a 10, endurance of a 10, strength of a 10, rank of a 9, because he is basically the almost like second in command. I mean, he's the leader of the Dinobots, but this is really a guy who really could take over for the Autobots, if you ask me. But there you have him, guys. Grimlock, the one and only. Now all we have to do is get the other Dinobots, which I really would love, and I would be a very happy Transformer collector. I guess for right now, we'll take Grimlock and we'll be happy. So let's get him open and see how cool he actually is. Alright guys, so here we have Grimlock opened up and out of its packaging. And while his T-Rex mode isn't what I would consider his best of his two modes, it is still a fairly nice representation of how he looked in the video game. Minus his gigantic tail. This thing looks way too big. I mean, that is a huge tail, and it's just really ugly looking. It looks very lizard-like. I mean, that kind of looks like a Geico's tail, I guess, but in the video game, his tail was not this massive. This is just a really bad representation of his tail. And then other people have really kind of complained about the hollowness of him, and yeah, he definitely has that going on. I mean, this is obviously going to be his chest. You can see all the way through it because there isn't anything up in there. I mean, it isn't as bad in person, I don't think, but it does give a very hollow feel to him. Now, this is not the first time that we've really gotten a hollow Grimlock. For a comparison, here is the Fall of Cybertron Grimlock, and here we have him next to the animated version of Grimlock, who, if you remember, when we first got him, a lot of people had a problem with the hollowness of his chest cavity as well. Basically, we got the same kind of problem going on. One thing that I'm really liking way more with the Fall of Cybertron version is just, I mean, if you remember, this guy, just look how lanky he kind of looks. I mean, obviously it's a different kind of aesthetic, but the legs are just very lanky and just, I don't know, just doesn't really give a very T-Rex kind of look. I mean, he kind of looks like him, or a T-Rex, I guess, but I mean, his tail just really kind of looked very thin. I mean, I think if you swap these tails, it would probably look pretty good. But for comparison, obviously, you can see that the animated one is a little bit bigger, and obviously a whole lot more wider, but that's just as, well, mostly because of the way that the legs are positioned and the way they look. But everything is a whole lot more compact on the Fall of Cybertron version than what we got here with good old animated Grimlock. But detail-wise, I am really very impressed with the way that this guy looks. I mean, he's got a pretty nice paint scheme going on here. You got, obviously, the red, you got the silver, you kind of got the bronzest color going on there. But overall, there's a lot of really nice molded detail in here, which makes this guy look very cool. Even despite the fact that I think his tail looks really kind of dumb. You got a nice Autobot logo there, which I'll highlight here a little bit more. You got another Autobot logo there, but as you notice, that one is more of an Autobot logo. This one you're going to see is a little bit different. But the biggest and coolest thing about this guy is his gimmick. Now, you have a little knob right here. When you pull it back, he opens his mouth. If you pull it back even better than I just did, you get a very bright light inside there, which really nicely replicates his flame breath. I mean, that lights everything up. Autobot logo, you got the lines there. It's so much better in person than it actually is looking on my camera. I mean, I love how it lights up everything in his mouth. I mean, that is absolutely a fantastic light. And the head here is actually on two different kind of hinges. You got a lower hinge down here, and then you got an upper one. So you can get some really good motion going on there. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. Now, articulation wise in this Dinosaur Mode is a little bit more limited. He's locked up here in the hips because of the way that the transformation is. You put those in there. You could leave these out and you could get his hips to move there, but it makes it look kind of goofy, and I'll show that off when I transform it back. He does rotate, well, see, and it's already kind of separated. He does rotate. These are very stiff joints. He does rotate here at the knee. He also bends at the knee. Nice ratchet joints. The feet here are on little articulation points. The little tiny T-Rex arms here are on ball joints, but they are fairly loose, not to the point where they're going to be drooping all over the place, but they pop off very easily, so you have to be pretty careful with that. But really, that's honestly about it for his articulation. It's really not all that substantial here in Dino Mode, I guess. It still looks pretty good, and it definitely conveys the power of Grimlock, and I really like that about this guy. It's just I think his robot mode is a little bit stronger looking, obviously. Now, for his transformation, this is a fairly easy transformation. Now, I have complained about easy transformations in the past, and obviously easy transformations are really kind of unfortunate in this day and age. But one thing I will say about this transformation is it does have a very familiar feel. It does really kind of give me a Grimlock feel to it when I transform him, which is really very cool. So to start things off, you want to come around here to these feet. Now, part of the problem that I have with his tail is also the fact that it's very hard to actually get this to tab together. And to actually untab it, your best bet is to kind of pull them up here and then really pull, because these little tabs are extremely strong, and I'll show why later on. It's really kind of awkward because, well, I can kind of show you here. It's like this, that tabs, and then you have to really push, because as you can see, it flails outward, so you really have to push this in to get it to tab. So I guess I would kind of make it seem like it would be easier to pull these apart, but it's really actually kind of tough. So pull these apart, and like I said, usually using the feet kind of helps as to kind of get leverage on it. So pull them out just like so, then straighten these out. Bring these all the way down. Now, they are going to sort of tab in there. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can show you this little bit right in here. Okay, so you have a little hole on the inside here, and you have a little peg right up in here that when you push it together, that should line up, and that should peg together. And then you come down here, and again, this is kind of hard to see. You got to push the tail all the way in, and there's a little hook on the inside there that's going to grab on the inside of his tail. It's not complicated. It really isn't. It's just kind of a pain in the butt to do. Then straighten out his feet, and oh look, there you have his legs done. Coming up to the top, you take these arms, they just rotate out on some really heavy ratchet joints. Do that as well here. Angle that out like so. Rotate these down like so. Take the head section here. This will untab. Then fold this section down, and that's going to put his dino head in there. Just kind of angle these up, really do whatever you want with this. Rotate it around. Very simple transformation, as you can see. Then just take these, fold these bits out, rotate his fists, bring these in like so, and then you can angle these really however you want. Do that on this side as well. Angle that like so. Kind of angle these down and around, and here you have Grimlock in his robot mode. And it's here in his robot mode that I really think that this figure absolutely shines. This guy is massive and big and really kind of gives a very bulky kind of weightlifter vibe to this guy, which is absolutely cool. I mean, this thing just all around is a very clean looking figure. I mean, he obviously has a little bit of a backpack, but it really isn't all that bad. And just the size of like his arms, I mean, this dude, just like I said, looks like a bodybuilder. Now, for some size comparisons, here he is, and here's animated Grimlock, and as you can see, again, big difference. Except this time around, this Grimlock is the bigger representation. Now, for a more modern kind of size comparison, here you have him next to the Deluxe class Ultra Magnus. And again, huge difference, and I love that size difference. That really is a wonderful scale between these guys. And obviously, if you have the Optimus Prime version of this mold, you can see where that would look as well. But I don't. So, for my Optimus Prime, this is what I have. And again, a wonderful size scale here. I mean, obviously Grimlock is a Voyager and this is a Deluxe. But you can see that the Voyagers are a really nice size this time around. And the scaling for this just is absolutely fantastic. Now for his accessories, he does come with his sword and his shield. And obviously this is a very nice representation of that. Come around here, you got a little hole right here. You got a peg on the side and you just go boom. And that's it. That's how you put his shield on there. And now, it's a little bit smaller than I would have liked. I probably would have liked it if it was a little bit bigger, but overall, it's not really all that bad. I think it's a nice representation of it. Just, I wish it was a little bit bigger. But same thing with the sword as well. I wish it was just a little bit longer of a blade. But there's that. And now you have him fully armed and ready, looking seriously ready for any Decepticons that come his way. And like I said, just the shield, I probably would have liked it if it was just a little bit on the bigger side. It's kind of small. It serves its purpose, I suppose, but I mean, if you remember for the game, I mean, that thing got really big. So maybe we'll get a third-party company that'll come around and make one of those, and if they do, I would absolutely buy it. Now for his articulation, it is actually really very good. The head is on a ball joint, so a nice range of motion, although it is kind of stuck, not really looking up or down too terribly much. That's really about it. The shoulders here are really actually kind of interesting. They move in and out just as part of the transformation where you can kind of get that kind of look, but serious ratchet joints moving in and out. They rotate all the way around. I mean, and then, like I said, they got that swivel here, but they also have another swivel. So there's a lot of articulation here in his shoulders. It's really pretty impressive. The elbows rotate. They bend here at the elbow as well. Wrists rotate all the way around. One thing that's kind of interesting is I'm kind of used to these claws being reversed, where you have the two on the top and then the one on the bottom. It's actually kind of interesting to see it done this way. Nothing here at the waist. The hips move forward and back again on a real nice ratchety joint. They move in and out, but that's about as far as they move. They rotate here at the upper part of the thigh. They bend at the knee on very tight ratchet joints, but the problem is when you bend it down and then like bend it up, you're gonna separate things. So the tightness of that ratchet joint, while nice, it really kind of hinders some aspects of it and really kind of makes it a little bit of a pain in the butt, because now I gotta fiddle with this to, and I don't want to break anything, obviously. Oh, there we go. All right, but that's one negative aspect. The tightness of his knee joints really does kind of affect that little transformation section, which really does kind of suck. But what are you gonna do, I guess? Zooming in just for some detail here. Obviously, you can see some wonderful detail throughout his chest. You've got a slightly different face that we're used to. He's got little ridges on there, and then the Autobot logo, like I was saying here, kind of has a Grimlock look to it. That's really very cool how they slightly changed that look. I really dig that. And much like in his Dinosaur Mode, the light up feature actually still works here as well. Just come around here to the back, you just lift the lever, and it lights that little bit up. I mean, you can see it lighting up kind of everything in there, which is absolutely awesome. That's very, very cool, and really kind of speaks to how bright that light actually is, that it can really light just about everything else up. But guys, this is really an absolutely wonderful figure, and without a doubt, I would absolutely recommend picking him up. He's just so very fun, and like I said, the scaling for this, just the size in general, really works for Grimlock here. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be putting this on my Transformers video game shelf. So very cool. Like I said, I only want now more Dinobots. That's really what this guy has done for me. Give me the rest. I'll buy them all day long. So to transform him back, again, fairly simple transformation. You just rotate this all the way out. This whole section will come out as well. Bring this around. You can straighten out his head. Fold this. This will clip down into place just like so. Come around here to the arms. Rotate these bits down. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to rotate these all the way around. Well, yeah, that's how I had them. Duh. And then you just angle these in just like so. Now, it's kind of, there we go. Get them in there however you really want. Come around here to the feet. Fold these up. Rotate the fists. Rotate this up and in. Do that on this side as well. Rotate that. Rotate that. Fold that back. Kind of bend these just a little bit, just so you're going to be able to actually get him to stand. And it's a little bit tricky actually to get him to stand sometimes. Kind of rotate these down, come around here to the feet, and like I said, these feet are actually kind of a pain in the butt. You just take these, separate these, you're going to bring these up, do that here on both sides, loosen that, there you go, then fold this up, and then kind of angle these around where it's going to be like so, and then you want to make sure that you get these intersections here kind of lined up on the inside here of his crotch area, and then make sure that these are lined up nicely. Push this together at the bottom piece, and then come around here to the top, kind of holding this all in there, and then really push. And like I said, it actually, for some, well, here, let me get these up like so. Really you have to really push this to get that to stay in there, and it really kind of sucks. Then angle that, fold these feet down. It's kind of lame how the tail actually transforms. I really don't like it. But here you have him back in his Tyrannosaurus Rex mode, and just angling things so it doesn't look like he's eating stuff off the floor. But there you go. Now, Grimlock really is one of the most beloved characters from all of Transformers. And when it was announced that the Dinobots were going to be in the new video game, aside from the fact that everybody was super excited and was really kind of hoping that Greg Berger would voice them, we all really kind of hoped that we would get toys for him. And Hasbro did a really good job with this guy. Now, the Dinosaur Mode is probably the weakest, although it still looked pretty good. The best feature about it really is the light up mouth kind of gimmick. I mean, that's really very impressive. The tail really is kind of ugly. I'm not a big fan of the tail. And obviously he's got the hollow bits going on, but that's something that we've kind of gotten used to over time. Kind of hollow Grimlocks. The transformation, while very familiar and easy, that familiarity really does kind of sit well with me. It's like slipping into a very comfortable pair of slippers that we haven't worn in a long time, but as soon as we do, it's like, That's really what this guy is kind of like when he transforms. The robot mode, though, is absolutely fantastic. This thing is a spectacular representation of the character, especially in that robot mode. And I guess if you want to, these, I forgot to mention that these can actually store here. You can peg that right there, and you can take that and you can peg that there. So he does have weapon storage, I guess. That just kind of looks goofy, though, if you ask me. But beyond the shadow of a doubt, this is one of the most, at least for me, anticipated figures of the year. Now, could some of the paint applications be better on him? Yeah, absolutely. More than likely, we're going to get a Takara version that's going to give us those paint applications. But if you can't spend the money on that, this is a wonderful figure to pick up. And really could look good on any section of your display. This could look good on a video game display as well as a classic display. But that's about it, guys. If you guys are interested in picking him up, head on over to BigBadToyStore.com or click on the link down in the description, and you can get your hands on your own version of Grimlock and really kind of recreate some of the very fun and memorable scenes from the Fall of Cybertron video game. So thank you guys for tuning in. This has been Optibotimus. Keep in touch with me. Find out recent purchases as well as all upcoming video reviews at Facebook.com/TeamBotimus and Twitter.com/Optibotimus. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.